Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Greetings to quiz lovers across Ghana and beyond. Welcome to the 2025 NSMQ Review Show, the special edition where we break down all the actions, surprises, and shining moments from this year's quarterfinals. I will be your host, Jacqueline Dubafour, and joining me tonight are three incredible Ghanaians who are alumni of our top Ghanaian schools, now making waves across the world, but still fiercely loyal to the NSMQ spirit. Before we start, let me take this moment to acknowledge the sponsors. The National Science and Maths Quiz is proudly sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Gold PLC and supported by Momo from MTN, Joy News, Pepsodent, Prudential Life Insurance, DuPay Money Transfer, Trusted AI, Adansi Travels, Rand Air, Kivogari, Spin City Laundromat, Coronation Insurance, Secure Sanitary Pad, Accra College of Medicine, Academic City University, Bell Beverages, Floral Tissues, Imago from Hashcom, GTP, and YFM. And of course, this is a prime time production. Before we start with proceedings, let me take this opportunity to also introduce our guest. First guest is Yabua Kankam. He works as a data analyst expert and IT project manager at a big pharma AstraZeneca in the US. He's also the CEO and lead instructor of Intelligent Data Consult, a startup focusing on teaching middle and high school students in data analytics, and he is based in Maryland, USA. Yabua, welcome to the show. It's been
Hi,
a while.
Jacqueline. Thank you. It's great to be back here again. Thank you.
I bet you can't wait, right? I can
Oh,
tell the
yes.
excitement. Thank you, right? Our next guest is Esther Blankson, an old student of Holy Child Senior High School, Cape Coast, and currently a graduate student at Yale University School of Nursing, studying masters in nursing. Esther, so lovely to see you. How are things in Yale?
Things are going great. It's quite competitive. It's a lot to take in, but we're doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries. We're going to dive a bit more into your journey to Yale. I think most of our, students may be interested in how you got there.
I'm happy
Thank
to share that.
No worries at all. Our third guest is, not so new to the review show, Dr. Stephen Nimo, a member of the Opokuwari 2017 NSMQ team and currently pursuing MPhil in pharmacology at KNUST. He is also an NSMQ enthusiast. Dr. Stephen,
Yeah, we meet again. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
no worries at all. It's always good to have you because I don't know, you're probably the NSMQ encyclopedia at this point, right?
Sure.
Great stuff. Right. So I'm going to start off with you, Yabua, right? Obviously, you're an alum of Kumasi High School. This year, there's been quite an impressive quarterfinals in general. How do you sum up all the contests we've had so far?
Well, thanks for hosting me again, Jacqueline. Before I come to that, let me quickly give shout outs to our boys, Kumasi High School. Even though things didn't go as planned, we got eliminated by the same school again, which is quite symbolic of us. But then we will come again next year. So from the quarterfinals, I think it has been very thrilling and captivating. Series of shocking moments where schools where we have always considered as underdogs are actually given us something to speak home about. And I think it has been very interesting to watch. I've had my fair share of the surprises. Schools that I have actually placed my bet on got eliminated by schools that I was not expecting at all. So it's been a thrilling contest, especially for the quarterfinals. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. Esther, it's obviously your first time on the special edition of the review show. How are you finding it? All the preparation we did before. Yes, guys, we did have to prepare for this.
It feels great to be here, and I'm truly honored. And I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts in a meaningful way and having a great discussion. Thank you again for having me.
No worries. Let's just start off, and this is for Esther once again, right? Let's just start off with the PRESEC contest, right? Our Lady of Grace, SHS, and also Ghana Secondary Technical School. Obviously, Ghana Secondary Technical School came on top, which was, pretty much of a shocker because with PRESEC, if they don't get to maybe the grand finales, it's not good for them. So what are your thoughts on that contest?
So I think the Presbyterian boys underestimated their opponents, and I think they came in quite too confident this time in the competition. And GSTS, on the other hand, I think they were more focused and determined, and that gave them the edge to win the competition this time.
Indeed, absolutely. And thanks for the lovely summary. Stephen, our encyclopedia, are you there?
Yes, please. I'm here.
Right. So obviously you witnessed your school today come on top with, is it 62 points or 65 points?
Yeah, 62.
62 points there. So my
Yeah.
my first statement was correct. 62 points for a quarterfinals is quite high, right? How do you
Yeah.
sum up that performance compared to other performance they've had in the last 2-3 years?
I think getting 62 points in the quarterfinals is quite impressive, especially looking at the fact that the number of questions in the quarterfinals have been reduced. It used to be 12 questions in the round one, but now it's still 8, just like we see in the 1/8 stage of the competition. Even though they had 62, I must admit that the performance wasn't as impressive as we expected it to be, especially getting to the latter part of the contest, where in the true or false, they had 3 true or false questions wrong and picked just one riddle. Per how they started, they could have easily gotten 80 points, but it didn't happen that way. But like we always say in NSMQ, you take each contest at a time, and it doesn't matter how you win. Once you win, even if you win by beating the school with a point, you won. And the most important thing is to go back, work on your mistakes, and try to do better in your next or subsequent contest. Thank you.
But I'll assume the camp is beaming at the moment, right? With lots of excitement for the next stage.
Sure.
Great. Yabua, I can't complete today's recording session without speaking about the L-Classico of the NSMQ. You know what? Let me not even introduce the school versus the colleges, right? Please give us your summary. We want the proper can-come summary for this.
Well, thank you once again, Jacqueline. So the L-Classico between Infantsipim, Disadel College, and then Prempeh. I mean, I think it was one of the contests where I would describe as finals before finals. I was anticipating an exciting competition. However, we all know what happened on the day of the contest, and then we had to postpone it to the next day. So with the contest being postponed, again, I was anticipating a very thrilling contest. Adisadel was loud, they were very loud. So I was expecting a lot from them. I know, Jacqueline, you do remember that I had actually placed my bet on them that they were going to at least even win the NSMQ this year. However, things didn't go as planned for them. I think they came in overconfident, and then Infantivum, of course, being the incumbent champions, they have all the strategies. They were well composed. They were articulate in their delivery, and then I think overall they were very confident. Prempeh College, maybe more room for improvement because again, if you take aside PRESEC, Legon, Prempeh College, obviously, is a strong contender when it comes to the NSMQ. However, this year's competition hasn't been really great for them, especially they getting eliminated by their father because Prempeh was bet out of Infantsipim. So it was great overall, but again, to me, I think it was a disappointing performance from Adisa College, especially looking at the way they behaved on the set day for the recording or for the event. And because of that, they had to postpone to the following, the following day. It wasn't something good. This is an academic performance, and we should behave as such. So next year, I hope they come in learn their lessons and then put out a performance that is something good to write home about.
Indeed. Do you think the postponement impacted Prempeh and Adisadel? And also Infansipa might have taken advantage of that, right? Let's not forget.
Well, Jacqueline, I think the postponement, obviously, it can bring down your spirit in one way or the other because, you've prepared, you are coming in with, somebody who's a vim and vigor, and then you come in and then we are like, oh, because of this situation, we have to postpone the contest to the following day. So the kind of enthusiasm that you bring on the set day, obviously, will be way different from the next day, which it was pushed to. So I think one or the other, it did affect their enthusiasm. Yeah.
Esther, I want to put another spotlight on GSTS, Ghana Secondary Technical School. What do you think they did right in that contest to edge out the reigning, sort of previous reigning champions? I mean, PRESEC 8 times champions, right? What do you think the GSTS did really well?
I think for GSTS, if you take a critical look, they will remain calm under pressure, and also they had strong mental resilience. Another thing I also realized is that they performed very outstandingly. At some point in the show, in the contest, you could see that they were trailing, but they kept pushing. They remained persistent and they kept pushing. And even with in the final round, the Goyle Super Bonanza. There was a challenging riddle. I think the one that had the answer for as critical mass was a very challenging riddle, but GSTS had that right. So you can see that they were really prepared, determined, and they remained calm, and they were pushing, and then they were very focused and determined to win the competition this time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Esther, for this. Stephen, what kind of lesson do you think PRESEC should take away, and how can they come back next year improved and better? I know we can't, proceed with this without really speaking about PRESEC because we know they're, one of the pioneers, titans. No one has won it as much as they have, but we're sort of seeing their weakness, or maybe the schools are seeing or coming up with strategies, right? How to beat these kind of schools. So what lessons do PRESEC need to learn from, their shenanigans that happened this year?
I think a little background on the team for PRESEC this year. So during the regional championship, they featured 2 Form 3 students, and the third contestant was a Form 2 student who used to come in for the true or false and the riddles. But after the regional championship, which they lost to, Achimota School, after the regional championship, there were inconsistencies in the performance of the Form 3s. So they just decided to try the Form 2s and use them for this year, hoping that next year they'll come back stronger. So PRESEC coming into this year's contest wasn't the normal PRESEC we are used to. It wasn't the PRESEC who had the intention of coming to the contest to win the ultimate. But after the very first 1/8 contest, they realized that the Form 2, even though they are Form 2s, they are still very, very good and can actually do something. Not also forgetting that GSTS also has students in Form 3 now who featured as a contestant last year. So,
Right.
and now in Form 3. So he also has the experience. And one thing that has worried some of these schools when they meet the bigger schools is composure. We can see that from the contest between St. John's Grammar and St. Augustine's College. At the end of round 4, St. John's Grammar were leading by a point, but they kept on rushing for the riddles like they were trailing. And St. Augustine's College took advantage of that, relaxed, and answered the riddles to qualify. We also saw the same thing from Osei-Chichi SHS and St. Peter's Senior High School when they got to the tiebreaker. So keeping your composure, I must say, is what will keep you in the competition this year. And I think GSTS did exactly that, because trailing by 8 points at the end of round 4 and picking the last 3 riddles, especially when the first riddle was not answered, which means that it has narrowed your marks to 9 if you pick it on the third or any other clue. But they maintained their composure, they didn't rush too much, went in for the questions when they were sure, and I think they made it count. So in terms of lessons PRESEC has to learn in this year's competition, personally, I don't think they had much to lose this year because they came this year as an experiment. It is going to take another 10 years for us to see a PRESEC team like this. And this is a team from PRESEC that we consider as weak. But they were exceptional on the day. Leading your Form 3s by 8 points at the end of round 3 meant that the Form 2s were also equally good. So I think we should expect bigger things from Presbyterian boys next year. They might even win the ultimate with little to no difficulty. Thank you.
Indeed. And we hope, not just Presbyterian boys, right? All the schools come back stronger next year. Right. So the Cat C schools, what a shocker we've had this year, right? Yabua, Mancranso SHS, right? You saw their resilience in quarterfinals, and they've managed to create the biggest upset at the moment. Talking about top dogs like St. Thomas Aquinas and Ghana National, what do you think happened? And should the big schools be now scared of these Cat C schools coming through pretty quickly, right? They're starting to see how best to change around their strategies and beating like really, really big schools like St. Thomas Aquinas and Ghana National College. What do you think happened in that contest?
So Jacqueline, again, thank you. So with this year's contest, one thing has been very obvious. Do not underestimate any school, because Mancranso Senior High School, a Category C school, coming in to pull this shocker is mind-blowing. Because if you have schools like St. Thomas Aquinas in a competition, everybody will be looking forward that St. Thomas Aquinas will emerge the winner in that particular contest. So again, I would reiterate what Dr. Nimo just said, that composure is everything. So once we come to the National Science and Maths quiz, regardless of your school, whether it's a category A school, B, C, D, or whatever school, it means that the contestants actually know something. And that is why they've been able to make it that far to the contest. So if you think you are, a lead contender in the competition, and then you come in to underestimate the lesser schools, in this case, the Category C schools, or in this case, Mancranso Senior High School, then you are making a terrible mistake. And we saw the mistake that St. Thomas Aquinas made. I believe that looking at their composure, looking at the way Aquinas competed, if it was a contest between them, maybe PRESEC, and any of these leading schools in terms of National Science and Maths quiz, you will probably see some sort of like seriousness in them. You could clearly see that they had doubts, they had unbelief in themselves, or maybe they even thought there's no way these other schools are a match for us. But then at the end of the day, we realized the shocker that Mancranso Senior High School was able to pull in the contest. So I think, again, it's preparation, composure is never lack, and most importantly, just believing in yourself that once you get to this particular stage of the competition, it means you know something. So carry on with that confidence and you'll be able to go far.
Indeed, confidence, resilience, and I heard not much luck is needed to proceed to the next stage. Esther, let me also bring up Ameniampo SHS. Very similar story to Mancranso. They've also made it to the semis. What do you think aided them in getting to that stage?
I think for Aminion, they also were very resilient, but aside their resilience, you could also see that they improved their preparation strategies. I think what they did in that was strengthening their weak areas and also building on their team coordination, and also ultimately just analyzing their past performances so that they know what they are doing this time. And I think that gave them the edge to win the competition this time.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier on, Esther, I would like to know more about how you managed to get into an Ivy League school, right? I'm sure we've got a lot of contestants. I'm sure you're a very bright individual, but if you can give us a summary of your journey. from Holy Child to Yale School of Nursing. That would be much appreciated.
Thank you. Think highly of me. First of all, so I'm a woman of faith, so I cannot answer this question by first thanking God for how far He has brought me. So I started off my journey by having my undergraduate education at Kean University. It's a university in New Jersey. I had my bachelor's of science in biology over there. And I thought I was going to go to med school after. So I took pre-med courses, but I realized that I wanted to be more at the bedside or med school. Med school is still on my radar, but not anytime soon. So I decided to pursue nursing after my biology degree. So that's why, and I applied to a couple schools, including the Ivy Leagues, and by God's grace, I ended up here. I think one thing that I really did was just mastering the courage and not underestimating the fact that I am capable of doing anything. I think one of the things that our headmistress in Holy Child School would tell us that you are more than capable. So I was reminded of that, and that helped me in my preparation towards getting into an Ivy League school, if that answers the question.
Indeed. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I'm actually quite inspired myself, but after 2 degrees, I think I've given up university at this point. Thank you so much. Dr. Stephen Nimo, we've still got one contest happening tomorrow morning at Chimota School, Kuforidia Secondary Technical School, and Kita SHTS. I need your prediction for this.
This contest is going to be quite difficult to predict because we have 2 regional champions meeting too early in the competition at the quarterfinals. Kita regional champions for the Volta and Achimota School regional champions for the Greater Accra. Beating Presbyterian boys has given them this motivation, this edge that they can actually beat anyone because Presbyterian boys is actually a school to beat. So after winning the regional championship, they've also engaged in a number of trials, which they've won, and they have all the energy boost they need. They also had the second highest score in the 180 stage, 68 points, which was very, very, very impressive. So I'm sure they are confident that they will win this contest. But Kita also has history when it comes to the National Science and Maths quiz. Just last year, they were at the finals. And in 2022, we were at the finals as well. So, and being Volta regional champions, even though this year we didn't see much from the Volta regional schools, so one may argue that they are champions basically because they didn't meet tougher schools, like schools in the Ashanti region or the Greater Accra region will meet. That's why they had or they found their way there. But they've been there, contested in the regionals, and still managed to get to the finals. They had a very slow start in the 1/8 stage, but they ended strongly, and they are very good when it comes to the speed race. And personally, that is the round I'm looking out for tomorrow. The competition between Achimota Kita and Kumasi Technical School is one school that shouldn't be overlooked. They also have history when it comes to National Science and Maths because last year they were at the semi-finals, and this year they hope to get to the finals, even though they didn't do quite well or as well as they expected in the 1/8. They think or they are certain that in the quarterfinals, they will bring up their A game and also seek to qualify. I don't expect this to be an easy contest for any school at all. I expect a close contest. But after what happened between Infante Pem, Adisadol, and Prempeh College, I'm beginning to doubt whether this contest is going to be close or Achimota School may easily win the contest. But I think based on your performances this year and the drive or the edge to clinch the trophy this year, I'm tipping Achimota School to go through to meet Opokwari School and St. Peter's at the semi-final stage of the competition. Thank you.
So some of the schools have already progressed to semi-finals, and Yabua and Esther, I'd like to have your insights, starting off with you first, Yabua. They most spoken about School Mancran, so SHS, GSTS, and Infancy Pim School. Who would you put your money on?
Whoa, Jacqueline, this is always the difficult part. Mancran, so GSTS Giants, of course. We have Opokwari, Infantipim, all these guys have, sailed through to the next stage of the competition. So I think at this point, My best bet will go to Infantipim because again last year people underestimate them. They looked slow but sure. They are very calm, well composed, but they're able to deliver. And I'm able to see that same aura with this particular year's contestant. So I'm actually tipping Infantipim to go into the next stage of the competition, which is the finals, and even win the ultimate. So I'm anticipating that they'll be able to do a back-to-back, just like somebody like PRESEC has been able to do. So I'm anticipating that Infantipim will be able to make that history.
You seem very, very sure of that. So the second contest of the semi-final stage is Armenian Point SHS, Pope John, and St. Augustine's College. Esther, St. Augustine College is obviously based in Cape Coast. The entire event is being filmed in Cape Coast. We've seen how the Cape schools turn up in their numbers. Do you think that's going to favor Augasco to get into the grand finale?
I think so. I think that would give them some sort of encouragement and some sort of boost emotionally to make it to that stage. And also, I would put my money on them because they're my boys' school, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Nemo, you mentioned tomorrow's contest, Achimota is going to move to the semifinals, right? So they're going to join
Yes.
St. Peter's, Opokuwari. Obviously, you are no student of Opokuwari, but it's going to be
I think that semi-final contest is going to be a very interesting one. I think the most interesting semi-final contest among the three, in my opinion. But the boys from Pokwara School have the experience, they have the composure, and they are extremely accurate. You see, in the round two, most students will press the bell and start with all the preambles, Madam, please, the a fraction with numerator and all that. But the boys from Pokwara School just straight to the point. And this year, they put a lot in their preparation because of what happened last year, losing unexpectedly to Ghana National College at the quarterfinals, and they moved around a lot this year. So I'm sure they probably met these schools in their trials before, and that's I'm sure they all the schools have learned each other's weaknesses and strengths and know where to hit the other when the competition starts. But for this particular contest, it will be very difficult to tip. But all things being equal, I think the boys from Kokwari have an edge over the contestants from Achimota School. That is if they win their contest, and St. Peter's, who have kind of struggled throughout the competition.
Thank you very much. So before we wrap up, I would like to get a simple message for your school, starting off with Stephen, right? Have you got a message for Pokuwari?
I think what what I can tell them is they should not focus on what has happened because I'm scared they will dwell on the true of what they had wrong today and try to impress in their following contest. But I think they should just take every contest at a time and try to improve on their previous performance, and that'll do the trick. And also maintain their composure. Thank you.
Kumasi High, when are they gonna come, have a big comeback, right?
Okay, Jacqueline. So Kumasi High's situation, obviously, being an old boy. So our situation has been quite challenging, So you always start on a good note, and then out of nowhere you get kicked out. So it has been a challenge for, I think, in-house. We've been contemplating on multiple strategies to make sure that we would be able to come back because our brothers like Prempeh College or Opokuwari School, when it comes to national science and math quiz, they are household names in Ashanti region and even in Ghana as a country. So we've been trying our possible best to get to that level. Things have become very challenging for us. I think we would re-strategize, learn from our weaknesses, put in more effort, and then again, just come in super confident and stay resilient. Because again, if you have the same school eliminating you from the contest, just like they did last year, it means you probably did not do your homework well. So again, we need to go back, re-strategize, and then come back stronger and having that confidence that we'll be able to at least get to the semi-final stage.
Indeed. Let's make sure we all get our homework done pretty well. Esther, Holy Childs, I don't think they even made it to the prelims this year, right? And to be fair, they're one of the probably 3 to 4 girls' schools who could potentially win the entire competition. What's happening? What message do you have for them?
I don't know what happened, but what I can say is that my girls shouldn't underestimate themselves. They should continue pushing. They should keep preparing. They should be courageous. I don't know what word to use for them anymore, but they are more than capable, so they shouldn't give up. And I think they should also go back to the drawing board, just as everyone has been saying, and prepare adequately, practice questions, practice answering questions. Under high stressful situations, and not just quickly, but also with accuracy. So they shouldn't give up above all. They should keep pushing.
Well, it's a wrap, and it's been so fun having our global panelists. I know you guys are so busy, so thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Well, before we wrap up everything, please give me the opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors. The National Science and Maths Quiz is proudly sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Gold PLC and supported by Momo from MTN, Joy News, Pepsodent, Prudential Life Insurance, DuPay Money Transfer, Trusted AI, Adansi Travels, Rand Air, Kivo Gari, Spin City Laundromat, Coronation Insurance, Secure Sanitary Pad, Accra College of Medicine, Academic City University, Bell Beverages, Floral Tissues, Imago from Hashcom, GTP, and YFM. Of course, it's been a primetime production. It's actually my favorite partner. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to see you in the next episode, which will be streaming on Wednesday. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you also subscribe and send in your comments. Goodbye.